January 2024, Duolingo, the language learning app with 500 million users, fires 10% of its workforce. Not for poor performance, not for budget cuts. Because AI could do their jobs better. The CEO did not hide it. Luis von Ahn told investors directly, AI can now do the work of many people. Translators, content creators, customer service reps, gone. While you were experimenting with ChatGPT, corporate boardrooms from London to Toronto to San Francisco made a decision. The AI revolution is not coming. It is already here. Goldman Sachs estimates 300 million jobs globally are now exposed to AI automation. That is the entire workforce of the United States twice. Every job in the European Union plus the UK. The entire population of Canada's workforce 6 times over. Duolingo is just the beginning. IBM paused hiring for 7,800 roles. British Telecom announced 55,000 cuts by 2030. Shopify, the Canadian e-commerce giant, is restructuring entire departments around AI. But here is what makes this different: the speed. The Industrial Revolution took 80 years. The Internet Revolution took 25. Economists are predicting massive transformation within 5 to 10 years. I am your name. Over 6 months, I analyzed 60-plus corporate earnings calls from UK, US, and Canadian companies, reviewed the latest labor research, and interviewed affected workers. What I found is not doom or utopia. It is urgency. Quick note before we dive in, this video discusses economic trends based on published research and corporate data. I am not saying the sky is falling. I am giving you the information you need to prepare. So comment below right now. What is your job? How vulnerable do you think you are? Let us dive in. Let me show you how fast this happened. 2022. ChatGPT launches in November. It becomes the fastest growing app in history, hitting 100 million users in just 60 days. While the public plays with it, corporations quietly start deploying it at scale. Then 2023 arrives, and this becomes the inflection point. GPT-4 passes the bar exam, it scores in the 90th percentile on the SAT, it writes production-level code. Suddenly, the 10-year timeline everyone was talking about becomes a 3-year timeline. Here is something insane. The time between ChatGPT launching and companies actually firing people because of it? 14 months, not 14 years, 14 months. Think about that. By late 2024, nearly 3/4 of major companies have deployed AI. Not testing it, deployed, in production, making money. Look at this trend. That spike you are seeing, that is 2024, the deployment explosion. And that brings us to 2024 and 2025, when the job impact actually begins. Here are some real examples. Duolingo cuts 10% of its workforce because AI handles content creation. IBM freezes 7,800 hiring positions indefinitely, saying AI will do the work. British Telecom announces 55,000 jobs will be cut by 2030, with AI explicitly cited as the reason. Dropbox eliminates 500 jobs because AI can handle document processing, and Shopify in Canada is restructuring customer support and logistics with AI integration. But here is what most people miss. Companies are not saying we are replacing humans with robots. They use softer language. Improving efficiency, productivity gains, workforce optimization, digital transformation, translation, fewer people doing the same work. I reviewed Q3 2024 earnings calls, and 43% of S&P 500 companies mentioned AI alongside productivity or efficiency. That is not a coincidence. That is a pattern. For companies, AI is not maybe someday anymore. It is how fast can we implement this. McKinsey found that generative AI could automate 60 to 70% of employee time across analyzed occupations, not 60% of jobs, 60% of the activities within those jobs, which means radical workforce restructuring is inevitable. Let us get specific. Not theoretical, not someday, right now. These are the 3 industry categories facing immediate transformation. First wave, knowledge workers. And here's the irony. The jobs we told people were safe from automation, they are getting hit first. Let us start with customer service and support. We are talking about 17 million jobs globally, 2.9 million in the US alone. Now pause and think about this. Have you called customer support recently? There is a good chance you talked to AI and did not even know it. These are major employers in UK cities like Manchester and Glasgow, and Canadian hubs in Winnipeg and Halifax. AI can now handle 80% of Tier 1 support tickets, operate 24/7 in 95+ languages, and cost just 25 cents per conversation compared to $5 to $15 for humans. Klarna's AI handled 2.3 million conversations in 1 month. Think about that number. That is work equivalent to 700 full-time agents. And customer satisfaction stayed stable. India's BPO industry employs 5.4 million people and generates $200 billion annually. They are now facing existential questions. Then there is software development, 27 million developers worldwide. If you are one of them, here is your reality check. GitHub Copilot now writes 46% of code on average for users who have it. That is almost half your job. Some developers report it handles 60 to 80%. Cognition Labs released something called Devon, marketed as the first AI software engineer. It solved real GitHub issues end-to-end in almost 14% of cases. The previous best AI system? Less than 2%. That is a 7-fold improvement in just months. And here's the kicker. Junior developer job postings dropped 27% between early 2023 and late 2024. One senior developer told me, "I am more productive than I have ever been." But I am terrified for everyone trying to break into the field. Financial services is getting hit too. Bookkeepers, tax preparers, financial analysts, insurance underwriters, loan officers. JP Morgan Chase uses AI to analyze legal documents. Work that previously took lawyers 360,000 hours now takes seconds. Let that sink in. 360,000 hours to seconds. UK banking branches are closing at record rates. Over 2,000 US branches closed in 2023 alone. Lemonade Insurance has AI that handles claims in 3 seconds. The pattern? If your job can be done remotely on a computer, it can probably be done by AI. Before I tell you about the creative sector, let me share something. Last month, I spoke with Sarah, a graphic designer in London for 15 years. She told me her agency just hired 1 junior designer to replace 3. Why? AI tools. Sarah is fine for now, but she is watching her entire career ladder disappear below her. Now, second wave, creative and marketing professionals. This wave hits different. It is not eliminating jobs entirely. It is collapsing career ladders. We are looking at 8 to 10 million global professionals, copywriters, graphic designers, social media managers, video editors. Major UK advertising agencies are using Midjourney and DALL-E for client work now, not as supplements, as primary tools. Mattel, The Washington Post, Canadian brands, they are all using AI for marketing materials. A marketing campaign that used to require 2 copywriters, 3 designers, 1 project manager, and a 3-week timeline now takes 1 creative director with AI tools and 3 to 5 days. Get this, a single AI-equipped creative director can now do the work of 6 humans in 1/5 the time. If you are one of those 6 people, do the math. That is an 83% reduction in headcount, but here is the crisis. Entry-level positions are disappearing fastest. How do you become a senior creative director if there are no junior positions to start in? You do not. The ladder is gone. Third wave, transportation and logistics. This is the big one, the largest employment category by numbers. Truck drivers, 3.5 million in the US, 11 million globally. Delivery drivers, 2 million in the US. Warehouse workers, 1.8 million in the US, with major employers across the UK and Canada. And autonomous tech just crossed a critical threshold. Waymo operates fully autonomous taxis in San Francisco and LA. No human in the vehicle at all. They are completing over 100,000 paid rides per week. Aurora and Kodiak have autonomous trucks on US highways right now. The economics are overwhelming. A human truck driver costs roughly $80,000 per year, including benefits. An autonomous truck, after the initial capital cost, costs maybe $20,000 per year in maintenance and monitoring. Plus, autonomous trucks operate 24/7. No breaks, no sleep. Amazon's warehouses have deployed 750,000 robots. They are not replacing all humans yet, but they are changing the ratio. Where you used to need 10 humans, now you need 3 humans plus robots. Timeline? Experts debate. Conservative estimates say 10 to 15 years for widespread adoption. Aggressive estimates say autonomous long-haul trucking could be economically viable within 5 years. Either way, 3.5 million American families depend on trucking income. These are good middle-class jobs, median salary $48,000, often with no college degree required. When this wave hits, entire communities face serious economic challenges. Okay, quick pause. If you are finding this valuable, share it with someone whose job might be at risk. They need to see this. Now let us talk about why this is different from every other technological revolution. You might be thinking, we survived the Industrial Revolution. We survived computers. We will survive this. That instinct is wrong. Here is why. Speed. Here is the difference. Your grandfather lost his factory job in the 80s. He had 10 years to retrain, find something new, adapt. You? If you are in customer service right now, you might have 3 years, maybe less. That is the difference. Speed. The Industrial Revolution played out over 80 years. The Computer Revolution took 25 to 30 years. The AI Revolution, we are looking at massive shifts within 5 to 10 years. A 45-year-old customer service rep in Manchester does not have a generation to wait. She has maybe 3 years before her job transforms or disappears. MIT economist David Autor points this out. The key variable is not whether new jobs are created. It is whether they are created fast enough. And right now, they are not. Second problem, the skills gap. The standard response is people will retrain. Retrain for what? AI is not automating repetitive physical labor. It is automating cognitive tasks. Analysis, writing, coding, decision-making. The exact skills we told everyone to develop. The jobs AI creates fall into two categories. High-skill technical positions like AI engineers and data scientists that require advanced degrees and years of experience. Or low-skill service positions like home health aides and delivery drivers that pay significantly less than the jobs being eliminated. The middle is hollowing out. A 48-year-old accountant making £45,000 cannot simply retrain to become an AI engineer. The barrier is not effort. It is structural. It is age. It is economics. It is reality. Third problem, where you live matters. Job losses will not be evenly distributed. They will cluster in specific regions. In the UK, call centers are concentrated in Glasgow, Belfast, Newcastle. In the US, we are talking about Phoenix, Omaha, Tampa, entire cities built around at-risk industries. In Canada, Winnipeg and Halifax are major BPO and customer service hubs. When those industries contract, local economies contract with them. Stores close, tax revenue drops, schools get worse. MIT research on the China trade shock found that communities affected by factory closures never recovered. 20 years later, they still have lower employment, lower wages, higher poverty. The AI shock could affect even more communities even faster. Given everything we have covered, what actually happens? Based on conversations with economists and current trends, here are 3 plausible scenarios. And honestly, one of these is where we are headed. Future A, the managed transition. This is the optimistic scenario, with about a 20% probability. In this future, several things happen simultaneously. Displacement is slower than predicted because implementation challenges slow deployment. New industries emerge faster than expected. AI trainers, synthetic media directors, jobs we cannot even imagine yet. Governments actually get it right with effective retraining, portable benefits, and gradual work hour reduction. Productivity gains are shared through progressive taxation and worker bargaining power. By 2035, unemployment is slightly higher, maybe 6 to 7%, but living standards improve for most people. We work 30-hour weeks but maintain purchasing power. It is bumpy but manageable. Probability, 20%. This requires nearly everything to go right. Future B, the turbulent adjustment. This is the messy middle scenario, and unfortunately the most likely at around 50% probability. Ask yourself, does this sound familiar? In this future, we see significant job displacement, 10 to 15% structural unemployment by the early 2030s, concentrated in specific sectors and regions, uneven geographic impact. London, Toronto, San Francisco thrive. Manchester, Detroit, Winnipeg struggle. Political instability follows. The disruption fuels populist movements both left and right. Policy responses are reactive and inconsistent. We get a long transition period from 2026 to 2040. Characterized by economic anxiety and social tension. We reach a new equilibrium by 2040, but the path is painful. Partial safety nets emerge, not full UBI, but expanded unemployment benefits, subsidized healthcare, localized programs. Think of this as similar to the 2008 to 2020 period after the financial crisis. Recovery happens, but it is slow, uneven, and leaves many people behind. Youth unemployment rises significantly because entry-level jobs disappear. People over 50 struggle to find new employment. The middle class shrinks further, but society does not collapse. We muddle through, just painfully. Probability, 50%. This is the default path if we continue with incremental policy responses. Future C, the bifurcation. This is the darker scenario with about 30% probability, and it is higher than it should be. In this future, massive productivity gains concentrate among a small elite. AI creates trillions in value, but almost all of it goes to tech company shareholders, investors, and a small class of highly skilled AI workers. Structural unemployment reaches 20 to 25%. The majority of displaced workers cannot find equivalent employment. They cycle through gig work, part-time jobs, and unemployment. A two-tier economy crystallizes. The top 20% live in unprecedented prosperity. The bottom 60% experience declining living standards. The middle 20% clings desperately to their position. Geographic segregation intensifies. Wealthy AI hub cities become increasingly expensive and exclusive. Other regions face depopulation and economic decline. Political gridlock prevents meaningful policy, or policies are implemented badly. Protectionist measures that hurt more than help. Poorly designed UBI that creates dependency without opportunity. This does not necessarily mean dystopia. The wealthy tier could be a large minority, 30 to 40% of the population living well. But the social fabric phrase, trust in institutions collapses further. You might see private security and private services for the wealthy, public systems underfunded and deteriorating, generational wealth becoming even more deterministic of life outcomes, and increased migration pressures from economically struggling regions. Probability, 30%. 30. All right, that is the macro picture. Now let us get personal and practical. 5 things you can do right now. Number 1, assess your vulnerability. Not all jobs are equally at risk. High-risk jobs, they involve cognitive, routine tasks with measurable outputs. Individual work that can be done remotely. Think data entry, basic bookkeeping, customer service, junior coding, content writing. Lower-risk jobs require physical presence in unstructured environments, depend on human relationships and nuanced judgment, or involve highly varied creative problem-solving. Think skilled trades like electricians and plumbers, nursing, therapy, complex sales, strategic management. Which category are you in? Be honest. Number 2, develop complementary skills. Do not compete with AI, complement it. Learn AI fluency. Spend 5 hours per week mastering AI tools in your field. The person who combines domain expertise with AI becomes 10 times more valuable. Focus on human judgment in ambiguous situations. AI excels with clear parameters. Humans excel with ambiguity, ethical dilemmas, cultural nuance. Build relationships and trust. People still prefer working with humans for complex, high-stakes decisions like healthcare, legal counsel, financial planning, therapy. Work on cross-disciplinary synthesis. The ability to combine insights from multiple fields, like psychology plus technology plus business, is harder to automate. Number 3, financial preparation. If there is a 50 to 80% chance of significant economic turbulence in the next 5 to 10 years, prepare accordingly. Build a 12-month emergency fund instead of the traditional 3 to 6 months. If job displacement happens, you want runway. Reduce fixed costs. High mortgage or rent payments become dangerous in an unstable job market. Flexibility is valuable. Diversify your income through side projects, freelance work, passive income. Having multiple income streams reduces fragility. Invest in yourself through education, skills, and health. These are the assets you take with you regardless of economic shifts. And consider geography. If you are in a region heavily dependent on at-risk industries, what are your options? This is a hard question, but an important one. Number 4, engage politically and civically. Individual preparation is necessary but insufficient. The scale of this challenge requires collective action. Demand better policy. Contact your MPs or representatives about AI impact and workforce transition. Support candidates who take technological unemployment seriously. Advocate for expanded safety nets like portable benefits, expanded healthcare access, and retraining programs that actually work. Build community resilience through local mutual aid networks, skills sharing in your community, and supporting local businesses and economic diversity. This is not partisan. Both left and right have valid concerns about AI's impact. Finding common ground on shared prosperity should be possible. Number 5, maintain perspective. It is easy to spiral into doomerism. Do not. Yes, this transition will be difficult. Yes, many people will face economic hardship, but humanity has navigated massive technological transitions before. We are not powerless. The future is not predetermined. The difference between future A and future C comes down to choices, political choices, business choices, personal choices. AI is a tool. Tools can be used to concentrate power or distribute it, to create abundance for a few or prosperity for many. Look, I know this sounds heavy, but you know what? Every major economic transition in history created more jobs than it destroyed, just different jobs. The question is not if we will adapt, it is how fast. And if you are watching this video, you are already ahead. 300 million jobs globally, a timeline measured in years, not decades. Here is what I want you to take away. This moment is comparable to the early Industrial Revolution. We are living through a fundamental economic transformation. Those who recognize it early have time to prepare. Those who ignore it will be caught off guard. You now know more than 95% of people about what is actually happening. You understand the timeline, the mechanisms, the risks, the possibilities. The question is, what will you do with that knowledge? I need you to do something. Share this with one person whose job is at risk. Not to scare them, to prepare them. And drop a comment. What is your job? Are you preparing? What is your biggest concern? Next week, I am covering the 5 careers that will boom because of AI. The opportunities no one is talking about. The conversation about AI's economic impact is just beginning, and it is the most important conversation of our generation.